Hey everybody, Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard here. So I wanted to check out something I wasn't expecting to see, nothing I planned for, just kind of go out and see a random movie. And so I decided to go check out A Quiet Place. The movie that's getting all sorts of critical reviews and it's a big deal, so I thought I'd check it out for myself and see what it's all about. So let's talk about The Quiet Place. So A Quiet Place is brought to us by director John Krasinski, or you might know him as Jim from The Office.
What is that? What are you supposed to be?
Three-hole punch version of Jim. Because you can have me either way. Plain white Jim or three-hole punch.
That's great.
Oh.
And I'm sure he hates people saying that, but sorry, you're Jim from The Office. This is not his directorial debut, as he directed a movie called The Haulers before. I don't know. But anyways, the plot is that it's the apocalypse. But not a zombie apocalypse, not a robot apocalypse, but the very seldomly used apocalypse. Although the characters know what it's about, but we as the audience don't know what caused the apocalypse. But basically, there is a thing. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a thing that's killing all of humanity, and they found that it kills based completely on sound. So if you're quiet, you'll live. So it's about this family trying to survive during this apocalypse and also not, having to be very quiet. And so it sounds like the quiet game that my parents used to make me play, where it's be quiet or the monsters will get you. So let's talk about the characters. And there's not very many characters in this, but the director John Krasinski is also the lead actor playing Lee. And, he's the father of this family called the Abbotts, trying to stay strong for his family, provide for them, as well as trying to seek out help, and doing everything he can that he knows that he can do, while also being incredibly quiet. And I think John Krasinski does a great job doing that, conveying a lot of emotions, just through facial features and body actions and things like that, not necessarily having a lot of lines, and I think he does a fantastic job doing that. John Krasinski's real-life wife, Emily Blunt, is playing his movie wife, Evelyn. Emily Blunt is fresh off reprising her role as Juliet from Romeo and Juliet in Sherlock Gnomes. Yeah, I'm not going to let you forget that one, Emily Blunt. And not only did you go to that shit well once, but twice. Come on. Should have learned your lesson. Don't do movies where the title's based on a bad gnome pun. That's like an acting 101. But anyways, she's kind of the same as Lee, as, she's trying to provide for her family the best she can, and, trying to deal with this hard situation. I feel like she's one of the weakest actors in this movie, but still, that's not saying a lot, because everyone's awesome in this, but I think she falls a little short of that, but she has some very intense scenes, though. So she's pretty good. She's fine. Then we have daughter Regan, played by Millicent Simmonds. I think that's how you say it. So she's deaf, and the movie does an interesting thing. Wherever she's in focus, they cut all the sounds, so it kind of pulls you into her world of not having any sounds at all. And I thought that was pretty cool, very interesting tactic to use, and did some cool stuff with this. So she's coming into adolescence in this world where she has to be very quiet, knowing the earlier world. She's young enough that she remembers the earlier world, but now knows she has to be quiet, and how to deal with that and things like that. So, but she does a fantastic job in this. And then their son Marcus, played by Noah Jupe. And so he's seen some shit in this world, and it's kind of scarred him, made him afraid to go outside, as it would growing up in this awful, awful world. But again, fantastic. Everyone did a great job in this, and I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But yeah, they all did a fantastic job. So what worked well about A Quiet Place? So first thing is this is an incredibly intense movie. Very, very tense. If you want to go to a movie where your butthole is not puckered the entire time, this isn't that movie. But it's very much like, oh God, what's going to happen? Oh God. What? Who's that? Oh, jeez. Oh. That's a lot of that. Which is very enjoyable for me, at least. Yeah, it's a very intense movie. Keeping you on the edge of your seat. They do that great. Now, I'm going to try and not spoil this as much as I can, but the thing that's causing everyone to die, and they've definitely kept that under wrap in the trailers and things, so I'm going to not spoil it here, but it's done really well and lives up to it. Sometimes when they try and hide something like that in a movie, it doesn't. You build it up so much up in your mind that when they do reveal it, you're like, oh, that's dumb. This one, I think, does a fantastic job doing that. I don't want to go into specifics, but yeah, they use that very well. And speaking of things they used well, the silence is used really well. So going into this, I'm a person that just zeroes in on any noise in the theater. That's why I sit in the back. I can't have noise coming at me. But people eating, people whispering, people walking around, squeaky chairs, all that stuff. Oh God, I'll just focus in on it. So what I was worried about with this movie, big thing being how quiet it is, made me really nervous. But they don't make the entire movie silent. They use the silence to great effect when it is used, but there is stuff like non-diegetic music put into it, and some more ambient sounds, some big action pieces. So it's not silent the entire time, but it is used really well. But it's definitely I was just worried that it's just the entire movie was quiet, and it would have, one, been boring, and two, been God, will that guy stop clicking his nails or whatever? That would just bug me. But I think they balance it well enough to where it works in a theater. And as I said before, everyone did a fantastic job in this because the lines in this are incredibly limited. There are lines, but they're very limited. So it's a lot of acting with your facial expressions. And that's hard to do without looking like an asshole. Obviously, I can't even do it. But I think everyone did a great job in this, really acting with their facial expressions and body cues and things like that. They did a really good job. And that's very hard to do, so thumbs up right there. And finally, another thing I really liked was there's no big exposition dumps, obviously because lines are limited, but also just they're not worried about explaining this whole situation to somebody in the movie again, so for the benefit of the audience. It was just this view into this world. So there's not a lot of explanations, which I like when a movie does that. It lets you kind of fill in the blanks yourself. They don't have to spoon feed you every little thing. So I think they did that really well, and it added to this movie's just whole vibe and feel to it, where there's also just they're not talking about what's going on. It's more of just this situation. So I like that a lot. But no movie is perfect. Where does A Quiet Place fall short? So not a big negative for me, but could be a negative for some people. So I'm going to throw it out there. Because of what the movie is and, that it's dealing with sound and stuff like that, it is very jump scare heavy. So if you're a nervous, easily excitable person, I'm looking at you, Luna, this may not be your movie, at least if you don't like to get scared in public, but because it is very much whoa, yeah! A lot of that. Obviously, it's just going to happen because of what kind of movie it is. It is what it is. It's not a huge negative for me, but I can see some people not liking that. My biggest problem is, and I can't really talk about it here, so I'm just going to kind of throw it out there quietly, is there are some character actions that I found very questionable, and I had some questions about this universe that bothered me a lot. So I'm going to get into that in my spoiler section, but I'm just going to throw that out there. There's some very questionable character choices, so yeah. Another thing I found very weird, in a movie where lines are at a premium, not everyone has a lot of lines, John Krasinski gives actor John Krasinski the most lines in the entire movie. I thought that was funny. And seeing as you can count most people's lines on one hand, it's really noticeable. Like, you get all the lines? I guess you can talk, John Krasinski, Jim from The Office. No one else can talk, you can talk. So a bit of that. Yeah, it was weird. But really, that's all I got for negatives. Not a ton in this. Just some stuff I got to get into in the spoilers. So let's just go ahead and get there now. So throw up the spoiler sign and jump to this time code here if you want to skip spoilers, because I'm doing some spoilers. And I do suggest, if you do plan on seeing this, skipping the spoiler section. It is very much built around this mystery that's building up. So yeah, skip if you are planning to see this. So these monsters, we'll just call them, attack. They even say, like, this is the day 460 something or whatever. So my problem with that is the wife is pregnant. Question. Ooh, question here. Question. Hey, right here. Question. How? Like, if the monsters, you have to be silent or you'll get eaten right away. How did they fuck? I want to know. That bothered me the entire movie. Because I don't think it would have been like a artificial insemination thing with the turkey baster, because why would you bring another baby into this world where you know that baby's going to be loud and it's going to cause a whole bunch of issues? So it's obviously a mistaken pregnancy. So again, how did they fuck? Did they just lay there in absolute silence?
Well, this isn't very romantic. I mean, how are we supposed to...
I'm done. Night, Lois.
Like, how did that work? It bothers me a lot. So yeah, that was a thing that really bothered me. Second thing that really bothered me is the trailer makes it look like they're scavenging and running around. So that made me think that, this place they're going into, they're just staying for a little bit, so there's no point in setting up camp. But they've been on this farm for a long time, it seems like, at least a few months, if not longer. Why haven't they just called one room the silent room and completely insulated it and made it soundproof and just live in that room unless they absolutely have to go outside? Why didn't they do that? Then you get in there and call your kid an asshole or whatever, and converse and do things. Like, you can do that with stuff around the house. You put some mattresses on the walls, it's fine. You can sleep there. Like, how? Why didn't they already do that? And then I'm thinking that through most of the movie. And then they show that there is a silent room that they were setting up for when the wife gives birth. So why weren't they already living in that space all the time? I'm very confused. Why? Like, you could have solved so many problems. Like, just the soundproofing is very easy. I've done it. You don't need, like, a lot of pro stuff. You can do it with stuff around your house. You can do some soundproofing. So why didn't they do more of that? I don't know why they didn't do that. And it really, really bothered me. So yeah, that's a thing. So now that we're in spoilers, I can talk about the monsters. They are awesome. I love this design of these monsters. Like, their head opens up so they can, like, pull in, like, satellite style, and they have these huge teeth, these big creepy teeth that remind me of something from, like, 90s Image comics. So I really like the design of them, and they don't hold it off for too long. Sometimes, if they're trying to quiet the reveal of a monster, they hold it off too long. I think they got a good balance here to where we got to see them, but, didn't necessarily be right away. It took a little bit, but we did get to see them. And yeah, they're really cool design. I like the design a lot. It's very awesome. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. So if you want a big, tension-filled, creepy, quiet movie, this one's for you. I enjoyed it. I did have some, questions about certain things and how they worked. But outside of that, it was still very enjoyable, very intense. But I do have a hard time giving it a good rating because it's somewhere between see it in theaters and a rental. I don't know if it's something you have to see in theaters. It is something you should definitely check out. But I think it's a little bit better than a rental. Like, maybe make sure you see it as soon as it hits Redbox or your cable or whatever. I don't know. It's somewhere in between there. I know it's the first time I've ever had that sort of, rating for it. It's somewhere in the middle. But there you go. It's definitely worth checking out. Again, if you're not into jump scares, this isn't your movie. But overall, it's pretty good. So, did you see A Quiet Place? Let me know in the comments below. Try and keep it spoiler-free, though, in case someone wants to see it. And if you could, very quietly hit the thumbs up button. Just tap it very quietly. But very loudly, share this video. Scream it from the rooftops for me. That'd be great. Loudly share this video. Yeah, Quiet Place. Let me know what you thought. I'm Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard. Until next time, hold on to your own thoughts.
Spinning further deeper. I know you're out to try me. I'm not in this